we don't think about normal life realities like having children or getting your first pet. For most people, it's so common that we overlook it. Even though it's common for most people, it's not common for some people, like women who can't have children or people who can't pay hundreds of dollars to get a purebred pet. Adoption allows this to be normal. According to adoption.org, adoption is the establishment of a legally recognized lifelong relationship between the adoptive parents and the adoptees, which is the child or the pet in question. After much research, I learned that adoption is indispensable. Today, adoption allows families to get the child or pet they've always longed for. Let's start with pet adoption. Animal adoption allows families to have a pet without spending hundreds of dollars. Most purebred pets go anywhere from $200 to $1,000, and most people don't have the money to spend for that. But how do you adopt a pet is the question. According to the animalhumanesociety.org, you first have to find the animal adoption center and then review the adoption listings of the animal you want. Once you pick a pet, you sit down with the counselor or the service person and you discuss the animal's behavior and medical records. This determines if they're compatible with your family and if they have any medical issues you need to be aware of. They also explain the policies and services, which is any paperwork you need to be done to get the animal. Depending on the pet, there are also adoption fees. For say, a bulldog might be $300 while a cat may be $60. These fees depend on the size of the animal and also the breed. Now let's discuss how animal adoption is helpful. According to the Huffington Post, it allows foster pets to feel loved and safe. Also, according to ASPCA.org, approximately 6.5 million animals enter the animal shelter a year. So you're also giving them a home, because when they stay trapped in the animal shelter for so long, after a certain amount of time, the people will dispose of them or put them down. But like animals, there are many children that need homes as well. Every day, children of all ages and races need to be put in foster care. But how do you adopt a child? This process is also much longer and much complicated as to the pets. According to the NV.gov website, you choose an agency and then research the fees first. Private adoption fees range anywhere from $5,000 to $11,000. This is just with private adoption. There's also many different types of adoptions that you can research. And then you have to complete an application and do a pre-placement test. This is a test that evaluates the physical and emotional environment that the children will be living in, whether it be a home study where they evaluate your home or a mental health evaluation to determine if you're stable enough to have a child. After this is done, you complete all the legal procedures like getting a lawyer, which you're going to eventually need in the end to officially adopt a child. Then you have to wait. Waiting is usually the hardest process for the parents and the families because there are different wait times for different children. For example, to get a Caucasian infant in the United States, it takes anywhere from 2 to 6 years. But to get an African American infant in the United States, it can take only 6 months after completing your paperwork. But if you wanted to adopt internationally, you could also probably get your child as soon as you finish the paperwork. But there are a few different types of adoptions, but the two main types are open and closed adoptions. But many people ask, how are they different? Well, open adoption allows for the biological parents or the previous guardians of the child to be in their life, which also means interacting with them, getting pictures, communicating with the adoptive parents. And closed adoption only allows for the adoptive parents to be in their life, which is no access to the parents before they came to that home. And like many things, there are many pros and cons to each. Open adoption allows the child to come to terms with the adoption better than closed adoption does because they understand why their previous parents let them go or gave them to a better family. But closed adoption could also mean less stress because you only have to worry about one-sided views because it's only your opinion. But let's discuss how child adoption helps not only the world but children and families as well. Adoption allows children to receive the love they never have and allows the families to receive a child they always wanted. On the HuffPost.com, Dr. John, which is an adoptive parent, said, "Each child is unique, each child is special, and each child is deserving of such love." When a child spends part of their life not receiving individual love and affection, it can take a toll on their mental state and their physical state. Most people who have crimes and stuff, they had a bad home life, and being adopted and getting a family that loves them can help this healing process. But under certain circumstances, adoptions help families in many ways. Some women cannot have children, whether this be from a cyst on their ovaries or infertility. Also, same-sex couples also try and adopt so they can eventually have a family of their own. And in some circumstances, some people just want to adopt rather than have biological children. Either way is perfectly fine. It's just your preference. Well, as we have seen, adoption helps many people in many ways. Although they're long and sometimes complicated and drawn out, they'll be well worth it in the end. And just think about when you're deciding to have children or get a pet, think about adoption because it can always help out in a lot of ways.